Your position is exactly 3 minutes old and you are already down $800. Your coffee, a cold, half-drunk cup of gas station jet fuel, sits forgotten. In front of you is a cheap refurbished monitor bleeding yellow in the corners, casting a sickly glow over a chaotic mess of charts you barely understand. This is your sanctuary and your prison. A cramped studio apartment on the outskirts of Phoenix. It is 7:33 a.m. You bought 200 shares of a small-cap biotech stock that a guy on Discord swore was about to moon. The ticker is ATHR. It has no revenue and a CEO nobody has ever heard of. You bought the absolute top at 420s. It immediately cratered to $3.88. That red number flashing on your screen represents a week's worth of grueling DoorDash deliveries made in 110-degree heat. You are 23 years old. Your entire net worth is $3,400. You've been trading for 4 months, armed with hundreds of hours of YouTube gurus and borrowed buzzwords to mask the fact that you have no idea what you're doing. Your grand plan was to flip this account into 6 figures and buy a BMW. Instead, the stock drops to $370, panic wins, you slam the sell market button. The exact microsecond your order confirms, the stock reverses. It rips to 440 cents, then 510 cents. In 12 minutes, it recovers everything and leaves Earth. On Discord, the guy posts a screenshot of a $200 gain. The regret is a physical sensation, an acidic burn rising in your throat. You open a new order ticket. You are going to make it back right now. Welcome to Level 1. Level 1, the gambler. Let's be honest, you are not a trader. You are a dopamine addict with a brokerage account. Your trades aren't based on technical analysis. They are fueled entirely by FOMO. You are trapped in the ultimate retail loop, chasing parabolic green candles that have already run 80%, buying the absolute top and selling the bottom in a blind panic. You jump into options without understanding the Greeks, buying out of the money calls expiring in 48 hours because they're cheap and promise a lottery ticket payout. You saw a guy on Reddit turn a stimulus check into 50 grand doing this, assuming it's standard procedure. You don't see his deleted posts where he lost his life savings. Your account hits the inevitable gravity of bad math. $3,400 shrinks to $1,500. You deposit money you can't afford to lose. You defer rent. You sell your PlayStation. You take a credit card cash advance at 24% APR because you convince yourself that you're about to be rich. The market doesn't care about your rent. It is a financial meat grinder, and you are feeding yourself into it. Level 2, the student. The account hits $900. The pattern day trader rule locks your account. You are forced to stop. For the next 3 months, you don't place a single trade. Instead, you work double shifts, delivering fast food until your legs feel like lead. Every spare minute is spent under a single desk lamp, studying. You stop watching the Lambo flexing influencers. You buy actual books. You read technical analysis of the financial markets. You read Trading in the Zone, realizing the problem wasn't the market. It was the architecture of your own malfunctioning brain. Risk management hits you like a revelation. Professional trading isn't about predicting the future. It's a game of expected value. You learn the cold math. Risk only 1% of your capital per trade. You realize a trader with a 40% win rate can become incredibly wealthy, as long as their average win is twice the size of their average loss. You open a paper trading account. For 6 months, you trade simulated money but treat it like real blood. You log every execution into a spreadsheet. On paper, your equity curve slopes upward. On paper, you are a survivor, but paper doesn't bleed. Level 3, grinder. You re-enter the live market with $5,000, saved through a year of grueling discipline. You trade a cash account, no leverage. You risk exactly $50 per trade. The first month, you lose $300. But for the first time, you don't panic. The losses are controlled and mathematically irrelevant. You journal every mistake. Your life shifts into a mechanical routine. You wake up at 5:30 a.m., 2 hours before the opening bell. You map out key levels, pre-market highs, yesterday's close, major psychological numbers. When the bell rings, you sit on your hands. You watch the opening 15 minutes of pure institutional chaos pass by without clicking a button. You wait for the market to settle, for a clean high-volume breakout to emerge. You enter via limit orders. Your stop loss is programmed instantly. You accept the outcome with robotic neutrality. Your profits are unglamorous and tedious. $80 here, $120 there. But by month 12, your $5,000 account has crawled to $14,200. You've made less than minimum wage hourly, but you don't care. You are officially part of the 10% who survive. Level 4, the technician. The account hits $45,000. You file your taxes as a professional business enterprise. Your setup looks vastly different. The cheap monitor is replaced by 3 4K screens. You pay $800 a month in overhead just for professional data feeds. You know that in this game, information latency means financial death. You are competing against hedge funds with fiber optic lines. Your execution must be flawless. You hyper specialize. You trade exactly one setup. If the setup doesn't appear, you don't trade. You can sit in front of a glowing screen for 8 hours without placing a single order. You have mastered the hardest skill in speculation, doing absolutely nothing. But the isolation takes its toll. You spend all day alone in a quiet room. Your old friends ask if you're still gambling on stocks. You stop trying to explain it to them. Your romantic life is non existent. The extreme psychological bandwidth required leaves your brain completely drained by 4 p.m. The market demands your entire soul. Level 5, the solo proprietor. The account crosses $120,000. You move out of the studio apartment and buy a quiet suburban house, converting a bedroom into a high-tech command center. You incorporate as an LLC, open a corporate prime broker account, and scale your position sizes. You're trading thousands of shares at a time. Something strange happens. The dollar amounts stop feeling real. You can make or lose $4,000 in a single morning, and your heart rate doesn't even move. The money has been completely abstractified into pixels on a screen. But the physiological toll is written across your body. Your shoulders are locked in permanent tension. Your sleep is fractured by nightmares of your internet dropping while a massive position gaps down 50%. You develop rigid daily rituals, morning meditation, strict diets, heavy cardio, just to keep the baseline anxiety from consuming you. You are trading your long-term mental health for absolute financial freedom. Level 6, the algorithmic Quant. By year 8, you reach the human limit. Your eyes can only watch 4 charts at once, and your physical reaction time is painfully slow compared to modern infrastructure. You spend a year mastering Python. You partner with a quantitative developer. Together, you translate your exact manual trading rules, strict risk parameters, and back-tested edge entirely into automated algorithms. The software doesn't blink. It doesn't suffer from FOMO. It never hesitates out of fear, and it doesn't revenge trade. It scans thousands of tickers, executing in milliseconds. Your daily job changes entirely. You are no longer a trader staring at candles. You are a quantitative risk manager, running Monte Carlo simulations and monitoring data feeds. Your equity curve flattens into a beautiful, predictable upward line. Trading has become incredibly boring, but boring is where the real money is. Level 7, the fund manager. Your private capital swells past $500,000. Outside capital starts finding you. A wealthy colleague asks you to manage his portfolio. You structure a boutique hedge fund operating under a 2% management fee and a 20% performance allocation. Suddenly, you are responsible for millions of dollars of other people's money. Losing your own capital was a business expense. Losing an investor's retirement fund feels like a profound moral failure. The fund scales to $25 million. You lease a sleek, glass-walled office suite. You hire an analyst and a risk manager. You sit in front of a Bloomberg terminal, talking fluently about Sharpe ratios and market-neutral alpha. Your edge completely evolves. You transition into mid-cap statistical arbitrage. Your annual returns drop to a smooth, reliable 14%. You pitch institutional allocators in Manhattan looking polished and hyper-competent. But deep down, you realize you have optimized the soul completely out of your work. The market is no longer a living arena of human emotion. It has been reduced to an endless corporate spreadsheet. Level 8, the institution. Your assets cross $100 million. You are a permanent fixture of the financial architecture. Your orders are large enough to move mid-cap stock prices, requiring algorithms to camouflage your footprints across dark pools to avoid high-frequency predators. You have a legal department, a PR team, and a compliance manager. You appear on CNBC, speaking in carefully calibrated phrases that project immense authority while revealing absolutely nothing. Your personal net worth crosses $40 million. You own an estate in Scottsdale, a penthouse in New York, and fly private. You dine at exclusive restaurants where the menus don't feature prices. But the physical cost can no longer be hidden. You have clinical hypertension. You have a permanent tremor in your right hand, the scar of thousands of adrenaline spikes. You've experienced multiple severe panic attacks, convinced your heart was failing. Your relationships are hollow. Every partner eventually realizes you are permanently married to global markets. They leave. You return to your screens. Level 9, the Philosopher King. At 55, you choose ego death. You officially step down, promoting your chief investment officer to CEO, retaining a silent equity stake and removing your hands from the machinery. The silence is deafening. You have enough wealth to last 10 lifetimes. and absolutely no idea what to do with the remainder of your days. You begin to write a philosophical treatise on the nature of risk, behavioral psychology, and radical uncertainty. Your book becomes a quiet bestseller. You lecture at major universities, looking out at brilliant, hyper-ambitious 20-year-olds who stare back with desperate hunger. You try to warn them. You explain that the market demands payment in currencies you cannot earn back: time, health, relationships, and peace of mind. They smile politely. They don't listen. The cost is completely invisible until it's paid in full. Level 10, the legacy. You pass away at 78 from a sudden stroke, the final surrender of a cardiovascular system that spent decades under intense compression. Your estate is valued at $120 million. The vast majority is left to a private foundation dedicated to funding financial literacy programs across low-income communities. The ultimate irony: you built a fortune playing a hyper-aggressive game that ruins lives, and left that fortune to teach the next generation how to avoid being destroyed by it. Your names are still on the doors of the Scottsdale firm. The algorithmic engines you pioneered are still humming inside server racks in New Jersey, processing billions of data points, completely indifferent to your absence. The market moves forward into eternity. The economic cycles repeat themselves with clockwork precision. The same patterns of human greed and fear manifest on new monitors, misread by a new generation of retail traders who believe the rules of gravity don't apply to them. The market remains completely indifferent. It simply waits.